Hello my lovely and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to review my 2023 journals and planners and give a little review of the Hobonichi Cousin, Hobonichi Weeks, the Leuchtturm bullet journal, Midori journal, to give you an idea of what worked, what didn't work, what I liked and disliked about my system, and some thoughts about what I'm going to change for my 2024 lineup, to give you some ideas of things you can do in your journal and planner system, and to give you some ideas on how you can use your journals and your planners in your daily life. And in my next video, I'm going to do a guide to help you through creating your own journal and planner system by walking you through some questions and some prompts to help you reflect and figure out how you want to create a journal and planner system for yourself. And the video after that, I will share with you my 2024 lineup. So if you're ready, let's just jump right in. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Seppi and I share with you simple and practical tips to live a happier and more meaningful life. And one of the tools that I use a lot are my journals and planners, which is what I love to share with you on this channel. So let's just jump right in. Let us first start with the planners that I used in 2023. So I started off the year with a Hobonichi Weeks, and then eventually I moved on to a Hobonichi Cousin. So let me first start with the Hobonichi Cousin because I'm a first-time user of the Hobonichi range. So I have a lot of thoughts of how I came to go from the Weeks to the Cousin. So my Hobonichi Cousin, I use it for my monthly, weekly, and daily planning, as well as my daily journaling. So what I liked is I love having a monthly overview to get a better sense of the month ahead, and then getting a weekly view as well, because at the beginning of the month, I can sit down, plan the month ahead with schedules, appointments, birthdays, and anything else that is happening. That way, every single week when I sit down, I can pull from the monthly spread to plan the week ahead, to schedule the days I'm going to work, if there's appointments, etc. I love having an overview of the week as well because I can see what is going on and I can schedule my workouts, or if I know it's a busy week, then I know that I need to schedule more self-care on the weekend or whatever else. So I love having a weekly and monthly overview, and I love that the Hobonichi Cousin has a daily spread where you have so much space to do what you want with it. And I find that the setup of the Hobonichi Cousin is flexible enough that you can do what you want with it. It can be just for planning, it can be for journaling and planning, it can be for memory keeping. There's so many different ways that you can use your Hobonichi Cousin, and that is one of the reasons that I really like it, is that it's structured enough for you to be able to use it for planning purposes, but it's flexible enough for you to adapt to your needs. As you can see here, for example, on the daily spread, there's a time schedule here. There's little check boxes at the top for priorities for the day, for example, and there's plenty of space here as well. So you can really do what you want with it, and I love that. The other thing that I really like about the Hobonichi Cousin and just the Hobonichi range in general is the paper. It is great for fountain pens. As you can see, I used a lot of fountain pens. It's also great for gel pens. It's great for highlighters. Across the board, all pens that I used in my Hobonichi Cousin turned out really well, and it doesn't bleed, it doesn't go through the page either, and even though it's a very thin paper, which makes the journal not too thick unless you add a lot of washi tape or whatever else. So overall, it's also a very good quality planner. It was enjoyable to use it every single day. I enjoyed pulling it out every day and using it, so that's a definite plus. I also really like the size of it, especially compared to the Weeks. I like the size of the Hobonichi Cousin. It is a good size, especially when you're using it for multi-purpose reasons compared to the Weeks. You have plenty of space on your daily spreads to be able to write, to be able to do to-do lists, to decorate. By the end of the year, I was adding a little bit more decorations as well by adding washi tape and doing just like little decorations here and there to make it a little bit more aesthetic. So you have plenty of space that you don't feel like you're cramming too much in one page. So I also, for that reason, really love and encourage you to look into getting a Hobonichi Cousin. Now, what did I dislike about the Hobonichi Cousin? So that's more of my fault in the sense of how I decided to use it. What I initially wanted is to have my daily planning as well as my daily journaling all in one one. So if I wanted to just stick to one journal every single day, it was just it. I had my planning, I had my reflecting and my daily journaling, and that was it. However, I find that because of the way that I set up my 2023 lineup, there were just too many different journals to keep up with. So it was just too many things to do. Even though I also like the size of it, the size is also a little bit overwhelming. So if I didn't have my daily journaling, I don't know that I will be able to fill up every single page fully. And that's something that I dislike because I don't like feeling as though I am wasting a journal, especially when it's good quality like this. As you can see, so I started off the year with the weeks. I only got this cousin, the Hobonichi Cousin, by the end of January, and I was trying to figure out how to use it. So initially I was just using it for planning purposes, and as you can see, I find that it's too big and I didn't have enough to fill up the pages, or I would end up putting way too much on my to-do list, and that became overwhelming and kind of counterproductive. So once I decided, okay, I'm going to incorporate my daily journaling as well as my daily planning in one, then it became worthwhile in terms of the size. However, moving forward, like I said, I kind of want to separate my daily journaling from my planning and keep the Hobonichi Cousin just for planning purposes. But yeah, in terms of the size, it's a really good size and I love it. And I purchased a new one, sneak peek. I purchased a new one for 2024. However, it does get a little bit overwhelming to have to fill the whole page if you're the type of person that doesn't like blank pages, which I am, and there were a lot of blank pages in the Cousin. Finally, one thing that I disliked, and again, it's more of a me issue, is the pressure to make it look aesthetic, especially when it comes to the daily pages and the weekly pages. I see a lot of people use their Hobonichi Cousin for memory keeping. So Helen from the Coffee Monster School is a perfect example of that. Her weekly spreads are beautiful, where she fills up the page with what she did and how she felt, etc. And her pages look so good. But for me, this ended up being more of a functional planner for me rather than memory keeping. So I have to kind of separate and distinguish between the different uses of my different journals and planners and remove the pressure. But that's one thing that I, in a sense, disliked, is the pressure of feeling as though I had to fill up the weekly pages or the daily pages and make it look really aesthetic. Some of my final thoughts moving forward is I will continue using a Hobonichi Cousin. Like I said, I purchased a new one for the new year ahead, and I will share my Hobonichi Cousin setup for the new year. I will continue decorating the monthly pages, weekly pages, daily pages as well to make it aesthetic, just because I enjoy that and I want to incorporate more creative journaling in my planner system. So I will use more stickers. As you can see, initially it was very plain, and then as the year went on, I started to try and decorate it a bit more. So I will continue to be doing that as well. And as I will discuss later, I will also use my Hobonichi Cousin for my brain dumps instead of using a separate journal, because if I'm not doing my daily journaling on the daily pages, then I feel as though I will have enough space to also include the brain dump pages in here as well, and to make use of the last pages, which I did it by the end of the year, but to make more use of the last pages as well, which are just blank grid pages that you can use for whatever needs that you have. So moving forward, the Hobonichi Cousin will just be mainly for planning purposes, but I will incorporate more aesthetic elements just because I enjoy it and I want to incorporate more creative journaling in my daily life. And who is this good for? So if you want to get into planning and journaling, I think this is a really good place to start, because overall it's really good quality. The paper is amazing. It's really enjoyable to use. I really enjoyed overall the size, what's included, the quality of the paper, the quality of the journal itself. It lays flat. It's a really good size. It's very portable as well. I was able to take it to coffee shops and do my daily journaling sitting at a coffee shop. And it's also really great if you like to use fountain pens as well. The paper is beautiful for that. So I definitely highly recommend a Hobonichi Cousin as an all-in-one journal and planner. The second planner that I had started the year off with before I started using the Hobonichi Cousin was the Hobonichi Weeks. I initially had intended to use this as my planner, and eventually I moved on and tried using it as my habit and health planner. but I fell off the bandwagon in April and I did not use it. Why? Because it's way too small. So what I did like about the Hobonichi Weeks, again, like the Hobonichi Cousin, the paper is beautiful. It's just overall a really good quality product. The paper is the same as the Cousin. It's really enjoyable to work with. It's just a really well thought out and good quality planner. However, what I disliked is that it's too small and too narrow. It became really hard to fit everything I needed to fit into my Hobonichi Weeks because I wanted to incorporate, so for example, I tried to do the 1 line a day. That didn't work. I tried to do the planning. That eventually didn't work. It was just way too small for my needs. I had to end up trying to write super tiny on the pages to try and fit everything. And I like decorating my pages as well to make it more aesthetic. But then between the writing and the stickers and trying to decorate, it was just way too crammed. And also because it's small, like even on this side, it became really hard to write on this side and to like decorate and to make it lay flat like the Hobonichi Cousin. So that just took away from me wanting to use my Hobonichi Weeks, even though it's a cute size. And in theory, I really like the idea. Back in the day when I initially started using planners, I had a planner. It wasn't this brand, but it was the similar size and I really liked it. However, for my needs now, between my 9-to-5 job and my business and my health goals, this is just way too small. And I had to try and fit in so many different things, and then it just becomes too crowded and not as enjoyable to use anymore. I have seen other people use this as mainly their health tracker, which I like the idea of, but again, I'm trying to be a little bit more streamlined in terms of I would try to do that as well. My movement, tracking my food, my wellness, how I felt, and my cycle syncing. So I tried to do that as well, but then I want to streamline my planner system a little bit more in the new year and to be a bit more thought out with how I use my journals and planners. And unfortunately, the Hobonichi Weeks does not fall into that. So I did not repurchase another one, but I have seen it being used effectively. It just didn't fit my needs. So I will not be using it or repurchasing. If you want to get into planning and something like the Hobonichi Cousin feels too overwhelming, the Hobonichi Weeks is a great way to start, especially if you only have daily tasks or you want to track your steps or your water intake, for example, then the Hobonichi Weeks is actually a good starter and a good size for you if you want to give that a go. And it's also great because you can take it with you on the go because of its size. It's very small, it's very compact. If you get a cover, then it protects it as well. So it's also great if you like to write on paper, if you want to take it to go, if you want to have your planner with you. So that for those reasons, I would recommend it if those fit your needs. But for my needs, they did not fit my needs. So unfortunately, the Hobonichi Weeks did not work for me. So let's move on to bullet journals and what I used in 2023 and what I ended up using and what I'm thinking moving forward. So I have 3 bullet journals and I have been an avid bullet journal for about 7 or 8 years. So this has always been my primary journal, and full disclosure, I am going to be, of course, continuing using a bullet journal moving forward. I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. So this first bullet journal, this is a Leuchtturm dotted grid A5 hardcover journal, and this is my 7th or 8th of the same one. I have one year after year and I absolutely love it. And if you're interested in getting one, I do have a 20% discount code that you can use on the Canadian website for Leuchtturm to buy any of the journals or planners or stationery like the pen or the pencil if you want. So I will leave the code in the description box. I highly recommend it because, like I said, I've been using it for 7 or 8 years. And what do I use my Leuchtturm bullet journal? I use it for my goals. I use it for my vision for the year, my monthly goals. I use it to track my goals throughout the year, as you can see. I use it for memory keeping, for my monthly habits, for new moon intention. So it's very much geared towards my goals for the year, my health goals as well. So this is, my bullet journal is very much for just my goals. This year, I've also been doing a lot more creative journaling and memory keeping, which is something that I've been doing more recently, which I've been really enjoying a lot, which also helps me fill up the journal because I find that it is hard to fill it up completely. So that's something that I really enjoy as well. The other thing that I've been doing is incorporating journaling and creative journaling on the same page, which I also really enjoy. In the evening, I sit down, put some classical music on, make myself some tea, and just zone out and journal. So that has been very enjoyable. At the beginning of the year, I wanted this to be my all-in-one, where I started doing my daily journaling in my bullet journal, but I stopped doing that because I felt like I wanted a little bit more separation to have my daily journaling in a separate journal, and keep this mainly for the good memories, tracking my goals, etc. So as you can see, these are my daily journaling pages that I did in January. And I just felt as though I wanted a little bit more separation. At the same time, I also want to be able to use other journals that I have in my stash that I also enjoy using. So for that reason, I stopped using this for my daily journaling, but stuck to the other elements. So what do I like about the bullet journal? Well, it's a system that I've used for 7 to 8 years, so it's very familiar to me. Every single month is the same formula. I do a monthly spread, I do my goals, I do my habits, which I've changed a little bit how I approach my habits, but I have a habits tracker. I write down the good memories. I set my full moon intentions whenever it is during the month, and then I do a self-reflection, and then we start over again in the new month. So that's something that I really enjoy and that I'm just used to. It's my own system that I just use all the time, every single month. I love the size of this journal as well. It doesn't feel as overwhelming to fill out the page. The paper is beautiful. The dots aren't too dark and I can still write, and it's not too dark, and I just like how it looks. It's also just a really well crafted journal. It really lasts very long. I use it a lot and it just holds up. The cover is leather and it's bound, and you have 2 page markers as well. There's also an elastic that you can close the journal and take it to go. I also added a pen loop this year, which I had never done before, which I thought was really fun. There is space at the back, so I put in ephemera or things that I want to keep and add to my memory at the end of the month as well. So I really overall love and enjoy using this journal, which is why I've repurchased it as the years have gone by. The only thing that I dislike, which again is a me problem, is that I feel as though I always have a hard time filling it out fully. However, recently, as I've been doing more memory keeping, scrapbooking, journaling pages, like creative pages, I feel as though that's going to help me fill up my bullet journal a lot more. So I'm hoping to be able to finish it by the end of the year. Right now, it's almost the end of November, so I'm still trying to fill up a good chunk of it. So we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned. So final thoughts, I will be, of course, keeping this in my lineup until the end of time. I don't anticipate stopping using this particular size and journal. Maybe some of the elements within it are going to keep changing, which is fine. I'm thinking of doing a full flip through of this bullet journal at the end of the year. Let me know if you're interested, and then I can show you my 2024 bullet journal setup if you're interested for that as well. Let me know in the comments. And moving forward, like I said, I want to do more creative spreads because I think I also got a mini Canon IV2 printer to be able to print pictures throughout the month. So that's a lot. It's also more memory keeping. I've always done writing down my good memories every single month. So I do already do that, but being able to put more images and more scrapbooking elements, I think, is a really nice touch. So I'm going to be doing more creative journaling in my bullet journal as well, especially when it comes to memory keeping. So this type of journal is really good for someone who wants to create their own spreads and create their own system, and you feel empowered and excited to do so, and you haven't found a planner or a journal that meets your needs. That way you can do what you want with it, depending on your needs, depending on what you like, what you dislike. You can create your own system, and there's so much content out there in terms of how to create a weekly spread, daily spread. There's specific bullet journal rules that you can follow that can help guide your process on how to build your own bullet journal system. You can even use it as a planner and create your weekly spreads, or get printouts and stick them in. Let me show you. For example, you can do a weekly spread like this one. You have the weekly overview with a bit of to-do list, next week, and tracker. So there's very many different ways to use your bullet journal, which I really love. I think for me, I needed to take out the element of creating a weekly spread for my planner because it just took up too much time, and then I ended up, getting disorganized. That's why I ended up using a planner. And what I also like is because it's a really flexible journal, you can include everything and anything that you want in it, whether it's tracking, writing your goals, just journaling, or doing planning and journaling. It's just a really flexible method that you can use to meet your own needs. Like I said, I have a 20% discount if you want to buy this specific journal or any of the other Leuchtturm products. I highly recommend them. I will leave the information in the description box if you are interested. The second bullet journal that I started off the year using is this black one. It is not a Leuchtturm bullet journal, and as you will see, I'm not crazy about the quality of it, but I got this at Michael's because it was on sale. My initial intent of use for this was for my business because I like to write things down. I like the feel of I just like writing things down compared to typing it out on a computer. And I thought having everything for my business in one, all my ideas when I'm developing a project, etc., to have a journal dedicated to it. And at the same time, this is a journal that I've had in the past when I had my previous blog. And like I said, I don't like not finishing a journal because I don't like wasting paper or just waste in general. So I like using things to the end. So I wanted to pick this back up after like not using it for 2-3 years to use it for my new business that I launched 2 years ago. So this is 2023. So this was like 2021. So it was my old business, everything that went with it. And then I wanted to reuse this for 2023 for my business, writing a vision and kind of going through the same thing of all my ideas and having a yearly overview and plan out my projects per quarter. What I liked is having a specific journal for my business and having a space where I can write, where I can brainstorm, where I can track things, etc. So I did like having personal life goals in a separate journal and then having the business ones in a different one. However, what I dislike is that unfortunately, I don't think it's realistic to have a physical journal for my business because things change way too much. For example, I'll have a content calendar for the week or the month. It'll quickly change, and being able to switch it up in a journal, in a physical journal, is almost impossible, and then it just becomes super messy and super annoying. And then with time, I just got annoyed with it. So that's one thing that just, I think in general, for the reason why I needed this, it just doesn't work. The other thing, of course, that I didn't like is just overall the quality of it. Like I said, it was a cheaper version of a bullet journal that I got at Michael's. It was on sale. I just liked how it looked. The quality of the paper is not the same as the Leuchtturm one. This is more of a cream paper and it's really soft, and the dots are a lot more subtle. These dots are bigger, and you might think it's ridiculous, but if you use a bullet journal, then you know that it's just a lot nicer to work in a paper where the dots are a lot smaller and a little bit more lighter, and the paper is a lot nicer. It's just a more enjoyable experience. This just felt really cheap. Which is why I would recommend, in terms of, you know, when you're thinking of what you want to buy for a journal, it is worth investing a little bit more, better quality journal, because it will make your experience a lot more enjoyable and you will look forward to using your journal. It doesn't mean you have to drop a lot of money to get a really good journal, but in terms of the price difference between this and this is really a lot more worth your money because you're also more likely to use it down the line as well. So my final thoughts about this bullet journal is that I will not be using it moving forward. I might use it just to jot down ideas or work through some ideas, but overall I'm still trying to figure out my planning system for my business. I tried using Notion, I tried using my iPad, and now I have resorted to writing a weekly to-do list on this and just ripping out the page. So at least I am making use of the paper and it's not going to complete waste. But again, I'm not going to be using a physical journal or planner for my business. And the last bullet journal that I wanted to include that I used, well, I tried to use in my 2023 lineup, is this Pocket Leuchtturm1917. It's not exactly a bullet journal, but it's in the same family. So I still wanted to bring it up here. I don't even remember when I got this. I probably have had this journal for like 8 years and I'm still trying to make use of it. I hate things going to waste and not being used. So I tried using it for creative journaling. The paper is quite thick and, you know, it doesn't bleed through. It's cute. We can't deny that it's cute. I mean, it's cute. However, I don't like it because it's way too small. Even if you see the thickness of it, when you're trying to write on the side, your hand kind of slips off. So it's like really hard to actually be creative in it. So I am never drawn to want to come onto here. I like the idea of being able to do a little drawing and it doesn't have to be like this big page and just like getting a drawing in and getting it done. However, I do find it hard. Like this was really a struggle to do just in terms of like positioning my hand. It's just, I don't know how other people use a pocket journal like this. As you can see, I barely used it. So I don't know how how everyone else uses it. I know that people use it sometimes for their weekly spreads or for their swatches of their pens and their inks and their fountain pens as well. But for me, I don't feel drawn to using it, and I think I might have to cut my losses and maybe just give it away. But I think I need to find a way to get rid of it. Either use it for just brain dumps or just give it away to my little niece. And this journal or this size would be good for if you want to do creative on the go journaling or just quickly writing down ideas, pen swatches. You can look at other ideas of how people have used this pocket size journal, but personally I don't have that many recommendations because I just find it way too small and just too difficult to use and not comfortable or enjoyable to use. So in the end, I wouldn't even think or want to, I wasn't drawn to taking it out and using it and making use of it. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this size. So let's move on to the third and final category. I tried to organize my journals to make it a little bit more systematic. We're talking about writing journals. So journals that I specifically use to, you guessed it, write in it. So the first one that I want to talk about is this beautiful pink leather writing journal. I use it for general journaling, reflecting, personal development prompts. So I use specific prompts for my goals or manifestation, etc. I also used it for doing brain dumps once in a while. So I often would end up leaving this journal beside my bed in case I wanted to write things out before bed, doing brain dumps. So it's kind of evolved throughout the years. I've had this for almost 2 years, I think. This journal is sentimental to me because I remember buying it before I moved into my condo when I didn't actually know where I was going to live. Long story, if you want to see my divorce story, you can see that. But long story short, I saw this journal at Chapters Indigo if you live in Canada. So I was really drawn towards this journal just because it's really beautiful, and I told myself I'm going to buy it before I know where I'm going to move, and when I move into my new home, I'm going to start using it. So this journal is definitely sentimental in value. So I definitely enjoy how it looks. The cover is beautiful. The paper is nice. It's good enough, but I think I have enough experience to know that it's not necessarily the best quality, but it did do its work. I did enjoy having a journal on my bedside table. That way at night, if I am in bed and I want to journal, I didn't have to get out of bed, and I just had something available right there to journal whatever I need to journal before bed. Now, one thing I disliked is the size. It does feel overwhelming to open up such a big page and feel as though you have to fill up the page, which in reality you don't, but it's just, I think psychologically for me, I see a page, I kind of want to fill it up fully myself. And another thing that I dislike is I didn't necessarily enjoy the paper and writing in it. Like I said, when you start, as you can see, there's also some messy pages, but when you start exploring journals with a nicer quality paper, this is not as enjoyable. It's not, the experience of writing in it is not as enjoyable as it is in another journal, and that's one thing that I didn't like about this one, which is why I'm going to steer away from just buying any journal. You know, it's tempting to see pretty covers and wanting to buy them all, but at the same time, I'm going to refrain from just buying any journal and being a little bit more intentional with where I spend my money, so that way the experience of journaling is a lot more pleasurable. So my final thoughts is having a separate journal for daily journaling and reflections altogether will be easier than having it spread out in different areas. So next year I will have just one journal for my daily journaling, my self-reflection, if I'm following journal prompts, etc., to put it all in one place, and at the same time have a journal that is better quality. That way I can, like I said, enjoy the process of writing in my journals. That way it encourages me to use my journal, and it's just a more positive experience overall. I find that this kind of journal is good if you just want to get started and you want something low investment, no pressure, that you can use for your daily journaling to practice and learn how to journal. But I also find that it's nice to invest a little bit more and get a journal that you do feel excited write in, whether it's nice paper, a nice cover, or whatever else. So overall, I did love this journal for sentimental reasons, and I would encourage you to have a daily journal that you feel excited to use. The next journal that I used a lot this year was my brain dump journal. This was a journal that I initially created because I want to start selling my own journal, but this definitely was not up to par in terms of quality. So I ended up deciding to use it for a brain dump journal, basically using it for as you can see, a very messy brain dump journal. Writing to-do list, even sometimes a schedule. If I had any ideas, I would just write it down. This is a journal that I don't plan on keeping. That's why I didn't care about, well, firstly, I don't care about this journal itself. It's not like it's a beautiful journal that I want to keep. And sometimes it's nice to just have a place to jot down ideas, be messy. If I didn't have time to do a weekly spread, I would just, or a to-do list, for example, I would just write it out here. If I had an idea, then I would use this journal for that specific purpose. I liked that I didn't care what it looks like because, like I said, I'm going to be throwing it out. This is me planning my office that I'm sitting in right now. So yay for manifesting that. I liked having a separate journal to keep that I could keep messy and not worry about what it looked like because I wouldn't keep it. So that was a plus about having a separate brain dump journal. However, at the same time, I also don't like having another journal to write in. It just, I would sometimes have my planner or to-do list and then this, and it just became too much. So moving forward, I want to be a lot more mindful about, like I said, my journal and planner system, which I will talk about more in the next few videos. And for me, I think the brain dump, as I mentioned initially, I'm going to keep this in my Hobonichi Cousin. That way it's all in one space and I can refer back to it a lot more easily. This kind of journal is not necessary because you can really use any of your journals or use a piece of paper, or what I've been doing is even just using Post-its for little quick brain dumps or organizing a quick to-do list. It's good if you have journals that you want to use up though and you don't know how to use them and you don't really care about them, then using it for your grocery list or to-do list or a recipe that you need to write out and figure out. That's what a brain dump journal would be good for, because then you don't have to keep it and you don't care about what it looks like. But moving forward, I will not be having a separate brain dump journal and I will just use scrap paper or, like I said, my Hobonichi Cousin. This is another journal that I've been using probably since this summer. It is a Midori. It's a Midori notebook. Actually, it's not summer, it's since January. This, I initially started using it for kind of my daily journaling. Then I moved my daily journaling to my bullet journal. Then I moved my daily journaling to my Hobonichi Cousin. As you can tell, my 2023 lineup changed a lot as the months went on, and that is okay. It's okay to change and adapt and to not keep it the same way if it's not working for you. So I just want to remind you of that your system is meant to help support your life and not stress you out. So if it's something is not working, just change it. So in the end, what I used this journal for was for manifestation. So there's different manifestation techniques. I don't know if you've heard of them. I don't know if you know what that is. If you have questions or you want me to talk more about that, I can. But basically, it's me just doing dream journaling. So writing out my ideal day or redefining abundance and reflecting on different aspects of the things that I want to manifest and reflect on, or things about that I feel excited about, or writing a letter or a journal entry in the future talking about the year and how it went. So this, I decided to use this as my manifestation journal just because it's a journal that I really love and I think it's really a beautiful paper and just an overall beautiful journal. And writing with a fountain pen is just, it's a beautiful experience, which is what I mentioned before, where writing in this journal, even though it's sentimental and I love the cover, I very much more enjoyed writing in this journal, in my Midori journal, a lot, because it's just a lot more pleasant and I just feel more luxurious and I just feel better and appreciate the experience of writing in this journal a lot better. So the journal itself, the paper is amazing. It's a really good size. It's not too thick, so it's easy to write, so my hand doesn't fall off like the little journal. And it just made the whole experience of writing in it a lot more special and a lot more enjoyable. So I enjoyed writing in it. I haven't finished this journal yet, so that's something I really want to be more mindful of, to be able to finish journals fully before starting a new one. And that is something overall in my planner and journal system, is I feel like I had too many different journals, so I want to streamline my process a lot more to make it a lot more easier to keep up and manage and not feel overwhelmed. I am going to be continuing using this journal to finish it up, but like I said, my journal specific writing / journaling notebooks are going to be a little bit more streamlined for 2024. This specific journal I do recommend if you're looking for a journal to write your fountain pens in, if you want to have a beautiful experience and you enjoy journals and fountain pens and writing in just a beautiful journal. I do recommend this journal overall because I just really enjoyed it a lot. Those were all my 2023 planners and journals that I used this year, what I liked and disliked. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any specific journal that you want me to go through and what you're interested in learning more about. My next video, I'm going to walk you through how to create your own journal and planner system for 2024. I will walk you through some questions on how to reflect, to be very intentional with what you include in your planner and journal lineup to create a system that works for you and that you enjoy using. So that's my next video. And then after that, I will share with you more specifically my 2024 journal and planner lineup. And finally, I will leave the discount code to the Leuchtturm journals if you're interested in getting your own and getting your hands on. That's 20% off by using code HAPPY20 on the Canadian website. If you have any specific questions, please let me know. I want to make sure that I'm creating videos that are helpful for you because I want to encourage you, inspire you, and make you feel excited about journaling and using a planner. So if there's anything that I can share with you, let me know. And finally, I do have a free resource library for journaling where I have worksheets and guided audios as well that walk you through some morning and evening journal prompts, for example. So if you're interested in starting your journaling journey, make sure to check my description box for all the free resources that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to support my channel as I'm trying to grow it. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you a lot of love. Bye for now.